This is ARC PDX.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to ARC PDX. I'm Wesley Ogle. Let's take a live look at local ocean seafoods in Newport because ARC PDX is on the road this morning. We're diving deep into Oregon's commercial Dungeness crab industry. As you can see, ARC PDX's Joe English is on location for us right now. We're going to be talking with the key players of this industry throughout the show, so we'll check back in with him in a moment. But here's some background on why we are on the road, diving into Oregon's commercial Dungeness crab industry. Dungeness crab is the most commercially important crab and a big economic driver in Newport and for the rest of the Oregon coast. In fact, Newport is known as the Dungeness crab capital of the world. According to Discover Newport, its port handles the largest volume of Dungeness crab in Oregon and hosts the biggest commercial fishing fleet on the coast. Commercial fishing makes up about 15% of the economy for Newport and the surrounding Lincoln County. So today we're talking with business owners and fishermen about the current state of the industry, the successes and challenges, and the future. And one of those experts that we're talking with this morning is Local Ocean Seafoods. Joe English is live there now, and he's about to talk with the president and CEO, Tony Bixler, and their fishmonger, Amber Morris. Joe, take it away.
And maybe sticking around for lunch and maybe even dinner from the ratings that I've heard from Rhonda Shelby and the rest of the crew on giving it 2 thumbs up here already. But yeah, it's just a fascinating day in Newport, as it always is, and a good day to find out everything you need to know about the crabbing industry. So Tony is here with us, Amber is here with us. I want to start out, thank you both for being here, first of all, this morning. The Dungeness crab capital of the world, not just the West Coast, not just the U.S., but the world. Why is that, and what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so I think we've had the trademark since 2007. We're the largest commercial fishing fleet in Oregon, and so we land the most pounds of crab every single year. So this is the place to come. This is the source.
Do you think an honor like that brings tourists in, brings crowds in?
What do you say, Amber?
Yes, they come.
Yeah, sometimes too many. We don't have enough room. Yeah.
Do you always have enough crab?
You know, it's a day-to-day thing. Amber's out hitting the docks early every day, making sure we're stocked up.
They're offloading late at night. They're offloading in the morning.
She's getting messages all days of the all hours of the day.
Right.
The fleets are out there. We can see them behind us. We mentioned that. But how are the crabs doing? You've been watching, keeping an eye on the crabs. How do they look? How do they feel?
Doesn't matter how big the crab is. I show the customer how big. It's 2 pounds, the little ones.
Yeah, full of meat.
Just full.
Okay, so that's a new one on me. It doesn't matter really the size. It's the meat in the crab.
Correct.
Yeah, this time of year, the crab are at their full meat. That's one of the things that we wait for to open the season every year is how much meat is in each crab. So they wait till they're fully grown, and then that's when the season opens. Make sure the domoic acid levels are safe, and then that starts the season. And so this is the best time of the year to buy crab. It's at the lowest price usually of the season, and then they're the most full too. When you're buying whole crab, you're buying by the pound, so you're paying for the shell and the meat. So you want it as full as possible.
So you prepare crab here, all kinds of meals, but you also sell it fresh.
Yep.
So that's an interesting tip, that this is the best time to do that. What percentage of crab in your budget, in your business, is crab?
You know, this time of year, it's a pretty high percentage. Most of our specials feature Dungeness crab in one way or another, whether it be whole crab with drawn butter or legs in a stew, or it could be crab meat. We even have it on a deviled egg right now. So we try to put it in as many different ways as possible. If you've never tried it, it's very mild, it's sweet. It can really be put in any style of dish. So our chefs get creative. They play with a lot of different flavor combinations from around the world. It's a big part of our business this time of year, especially down at the fish market. There's a line out the door during the holiday season, and everybody wants a whole crab in their bag.
Right.
And how do you tell the difference between, because my understanding is that you can only harvest male Dungeness crab, so how do you tell the difference between it? Nobody's going to be able to buy a female crab in a shop, especially not yours, right? But how do you tell the difference?
Well, right off the bat, when you're buying the crab, they sort through it. And the fishermen, when they're catching it, they toss it in the ocean back.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no chance you could even get one.
It's
So if you're doing it yourself, though, if you go out and throw a pot in on the weekend and you catch some crabs, how do you tell the difference?
the stomach on a male is flat, and the female is round.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
usually when you buy your license to go do a recreational crabbing, they give you all sorts of literature on that. So you're really trained on which we should be keeping and which we shouldn't. The amazing thing is the fishery regenerates every year, so it's really important that everybody participates in that, those rules, because that really keeps it so that we get another great season the next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, as being a chef and a restaurant owner and a fishmonger, although I've heard the term fish goddess thrown around, so the compliments to you.
Charles Branford, he was the chef that opened,
Oh, okay.
and he called me the fish goddess.
All right, all right, well deserved. My question for you is, you're around this all the time. Do you like to eat crab, and how is it best prepared?
To be honest, at the beginning of the season, I have a ritual with my kids. In the first month of the season every year, we buy some whole crab, just a really simple rustic dinner, some crusty bread, good butter, and we get on the table with a tablecloth and crack it open. So, that's, I think, the best way to appreciate it in its natural form. And then from there, you can go wild with preparations, but just simple is really my favorite this time of year.
And do you sell it all day long? You gather it all morning long? Do you eat it as well? And what's the best way?
I just like it whole crab and eat it.
Is there a particular best part of the crab?
Well, the legs are great, and the white meat is real sweet, and the legs are just,
Like a lot
The
of
whole
foods,
crab.
you got to work for it. Cracking it open is part of the. I think what is the saying? Hunger is the best sauce. So by taking the time to crack it open, you really have to work for it, and I think it makes it taste better.
Do you see any challenges ahead? I know we were talking earlier this morning about you as a business owner have to keep an eye on the trends and the things that are changing. What do you see for the future of the crabbing industry and your restaurant?
Yeah, I think Oregonians and locals will kind of understand this, but a lot of it has to do with the pricing. It fluctuates wildly from year to year, so I think that's one concern is the price of everything is going up, but this is the best time of the year with the lowest price, so that's something we keep a close eye on. I don't think you can ever have a price that satisfies everybody, but I know whale entanglement is a big issue right now that people are talking about. There's a lot of information about why that may be happening. The whale populations, luckily, are really growing at a significant rate. So that's, just a lot of traffic is part of it. So you'll have some experts here later that can talk about that a little bit better. But those are things we're keeping an eye on. We're kind of the secondary. We ride the wave. We don't have a lot of say in that. We just try to keep our customers happy and the fishers happy.
But Amber, you're on the front line there. You get face to face with the people who are catching the crab. What kind of a vibe do you get from the crab fishermen?
they're happy. We're happy to be there and happy to, they go out to sea and they come back in with beautiful crabs.
Not discouraged at all that we got kind of a late start to the season? They're fine with that?
They go with it.
Yeah, they would have liked to start a little bit earlier this year. There was a small segment that wasn't quite, they do all these tests along the coast, and they wait till all of them are passing all the marks. And so that's a little bit controversial for some fishermen. They want to get out right away. Yeah. The weather's rough this time of year, so sometimes even when the season opens, the smaller boats can't always get out right away. But just getting a few trips out before the holidays is a big deal for our local community, buying Christmas presents for their kids and maybe a new truck if the season's real good.
I was fascinated to learn that crab is a popular meal for Christmas dinner. I did not know that. So Yeah, that's fantastic. Tony, Amber, thank you so much for talking with us this morning. We got all kinds of other stuff we could talk about, but we will do that with some other special guests as we go through the morning, because it's a fascinating business. There's so much involved in keeping the business going, the industry of crabbing, businesses like the restaurants that serve wonderful crab dishes, all that stuff, Wesley. So we've got a lot more to talk about. We'll see you back here in a bit to do that.
Yeah, great conversation. Love hearing from the fish goddess herself as well, Joe. Thank you so much for,
Yes.
for bringing that to us. All morning long, we are talking with key players of this industry. And of course, none of this would be possible without the fishermen. So let's go back out now to ARC PDX's Joe English, who is live in Newport with Bob Eder, the captain and owner of Timmy Boy. Joe, take it away.
Yeah, and Wes, if you look out the window here to the bay, those two bright lights out there, that is Timmy Boy that just came in for the opening of the season. And this is Captain Bob Eder, the guy in charge of Timmy Boy. Excuse me. And something I just learned about the captain is that he was born in Los Angeles. He's a first-generation fisherman. I thought this was the kind of thing that would go back family by family by family, but I asked you, you just came in from the start of the season. Is every season different? And you said, no, every season is exciting. Why is that?
This fishery is very dynamic, and it's competitive. It happens in the middle of winter. The weather is variable, often rough. And no, there's no sameness to this. We aren't plowing rows here. We're searching for product, for Dungeness crab, the iconic seafood product in Oregon.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting.
Is there a reason you particularly fish for crab? You could do a number of other things, right?
Crab is the keystone fishery for commercial fishing in our state. Economically, it's the number one value fishery, and maybe even more importantly, culturally, it's important. We have more boats and more families involved, more participation than any other fishery. And so, even though I fish other things,
right,
black cod, shrimp, halibut,
okay,
tuna, at times, I've crabbed every single year for over 50 years.
You just came back in for the start of the season. What was your vibe? What was your feeling when you got back in? How that's gone for the first week or so?
Well, we just made, yes, it's been a couple weeks. It started on the 16th, and this was our third delivery. Okay. It's gone pretty well. It's a very front-end loaded experience, crabbing.
What does that mean?
You better be ready at the get-go, is what it means. And you know, we've had a good start, and the crab haven't been spoiled by any bait in the water for months. Okay. They've been foraging on their own. Then we show up, and it must be like the party's starting for them. And so the biggest catches are invariably at the beginning.
Okay.
So it's done pretty well. We made our third delivery in the 2 weeks yesterday morning, and we'll be going out when I'm done with this conversation again. It's gone pretty well. We broke 100,000 pounds with our boat, which is a good goal, you know, a good first goal.
All right, fantastic.
That said, they're already very hard to find. It's very challenging trying to keep up production.
Yeah, so what's the outlook for the rest of the season, or what do you think you're going to see?
I think this season's going to be, by recent, like the 10-year average, I think it'll be about average, maybe a little bit under. But it's hard to tell. Not all parts of the coast have opened, Joe.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, or the day before yesterday, they began fishing out of the Columbia River area of northern Oregon and southern Washington. And California hasn't begun yet. So coastwide, and the crabs don't know about the political boundaries, of course. Coastwide, we don't have all the information yet, but it looks a little spotty to me. No real concern there because this fishery it's an incredibly good example of a sustainable fishery. It's at 150 years old, and it's been more productive in the last 20 years than ever.
Wow.
And so and we don't expect a straight line curve on the production.
Right, right.
So,
And that makes me want to ask a question about pop-up gear, because some conservationists are saying we need to go this way to save the whales, so to speak. I want to get your take on that. Is that a good thing, a bad thing, in between thing? What do you think?
that's a thing.
Essentially, and maybe you can explain it to us, it eliminates some of the lines that are used, is that correct?
The pop-up gear, so every crab pot, we have 500. There's a limit on what you could have. Every crab pot has line and buoys at the top.
Right.
And so we're driving around, picking up the buoys, and hauling in the line in each one. So pop-up gear would submerge the buoys.
Okay.
And there'd be an electronic signal, as I understand it, that releases the buoy from down below and pops up, and then you pull the pot. It would be a big change.
Yeah.
A huge change, and very expensive change.
Yeah, even a change that you possibly can make. I mean, you might have to if
All
if
engineering is
legislation goes through.
possible.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but
Right.
but it would be an enormous change. And as it is now, we could see each other's gear. We could know if we're in danger of entangling one another.
Okay.
So that's important.
Yeah.
You know, we could be considerate or inconsiderate and chase each other, but so the buoys wouldn't be seen, and it would be very slow. We can pull our 500 traps in a day, depending on the layout and conditions.
Yeah.
But it would be much slower, and we'd have to. There'd be a big change in equipment. You know, umpteen millions of dollars worth of change.
Wow.
I'm just not sure. Listen, we relate and feel a kinship to marine mammals. And all of us do.
Yeah.
And on the east coast of the United States, there's a real problem with the North Atlantic right whale. There's only 40 viable females and 300 and some animals, and they can't lose any of them. The animals that we're talking about here, the well-intended people in some of the NGOs, are humpback whales. And the humpback whales have a burgeoning population. They're growing at 8-9% a year. There are more and more of them, and the combination of that success in population and climate change has them feeding further north than they had before. So I didn't used to see hardly any. Now I see some.
Oh, fantastic! Good sign.
And
Good sign.
so an occasional entanglement, it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
But you know, all living things
We all
die.
work together. Right.
I could tell you that in the 50+ years that I've been crabbing, I think I've probably witnessed about 1 million pots pulled, and I've seen one entanglement. One, and actually that was a remarkable experience. I had a humpback whale entangled in one of my crab pots 2 years ago, and it was holding still, and I was able to free it, release the pot. It was a transcendent experience, you know. Not that I'd want to do it, but that entangled whale is okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is a challenge, but I think we're seeing an overreaction.
Yeah.
You know,
All right.
from our point of view.
Okay, I'm glad to get your point of view this morning. Captain Bob, thank you so much for talking with us. I have a whole bunch more questions that I want to ask you, but we're out of time. I'm going to throw it back to the station in Portland and Wes. Fascinating people involved in this business. We have more others to talk about And there's so much, we could do 2-3 days talking
Oh
about
my
the
gosh.
crabbing industry in Oregon, but we'll get to what we can.
I know, and the stories I'm sure Bob has. I also got to talk
Oh,
to him on
yeah.
the phone to him. He is just a fixture in that community and recommended to us by so many people. So I'm glad we got him on the show. Great interview, Joe. Thank you for talking to him. And you know, you heard Joe mention that petition from conservation groups. It was sent to the State Fish and Wildlife Commission. It was filed early last month by a handful of groups, including the Center for Biological Diversity. Their goal is to reduce whale entanglements in crab fishing gear. The petition calls for stronger entanglement risk reduction measures to create a pathway for authorization of that pop-up fishing gear you heard them talk about, and to establish a process for timely reporting of entanglements in Dungeness crab fishing gear. Now, we did ask the commission to join us this morning to talk about the petition, and while they weren't able to join us, they did confirm that they received the petition and they do have plans to discuss it in the near future. We also reached out to the Center for Biological Diversity, but we did not hear back from them. And another key player in this industry is Englund Marine and Industrial Supply. They've been serving marine enthusiasts on the West Coast for more than 80 years now. So let's go back out live to ARC PDX's Joe English, who's with Dean Fleck, the store manager of Englund Marine's Newport location. Joe, take it away.
And we want to talk about this business not only being the backbone of the state's industry, but being a generational thing as well. In fact, Dean, thank you so much for talking with us this morning, because what generations are we going back? 2, 3, actually?
Well, we're on our 3rd generation now at Englund Marine, and we're still going strong.
And is that a sign, because it's the 3rd generation, that things are going well and in the right direction, you can keep going?
Actually, yes. Our business is extremely healthy. Since we're talking about the crab industry, it is also a very healthy and sustainable fishery and doing well.
And you take care of a lot of the people that go out and get the crabs, bring them back. And there's so many aspects to this. Who do you serve in the business that you're doing?
So what we do is we serve all the support businesses. We're one of them that supports the industry. And we get rope, buoys, that kind of thing for the fleet, as well as we supply gear to fish processors. We supply gear to the boat yards. So all aspects of a fishing boat, everything that you see on a fishing boat, we help supply that. So
Wow.
it's quite broad, yes.
You think that might surprise people, that all of that is done in tiny little Newport?
It is,
Yeah.
and it probably would surprise them a little bit, but they have to have all that.
Yeah.
They have to get their boats taken care of and get all their boats cleaned and bottoms painted and all that kind of stuff to go, and we help supply that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what are the challenges that you see ahead, not only for what you do, but I mean, you're all intertwined in what's being done?
Challenges are, future of the fishery is bright. It's extremely sustainable. The challenge that's happening nowadays, I know you had Bob Eder on here a minute ago, and you talked about pop-up gear and
Right.
that. So our challenge is, as a supplier for things, is this is a regulated industry, and with all these different agencies, we have to order our gear months in advance. And in order to do that, we need to know, okay, what is the requirement? Is it changing? When is the opening going to be? We don't know when that's going
Wow.
to be. What is the price
Yeah.
for the fisherman? Is it going to be a good season, not a good season? So it's kind of like a little bit of gambling, but not much. It's fun.
Yeah, so if somebody, it's easy to make a law, but then to actually make it work for the people who have to abide by it.
It's
that's
very
not so-
difficult for
Yeah.
us to supply the gear that they need to go when they have to go.
Wow. I want to ask everybody this morning that we're talking to, since we're talking about crab, do you eat crab? Do you love crab?
Big
What's the
time.
best way to make it?
Crab is, I just like to steam it about 15 minutes in boiling water with little salt, and absolutely, that's the best thing there is. Especially this time of year, you get the new crab that's coming in, it's all full of meat, it's awesome.
And how big of a difference? I mean, what part of what you do is crab?
Well, the crab industry has grown. It is actually the backbone of our entire fishing industry. And the good part about it is that it employs most of our boats. So we have a lot of different fisheries, and every boat can't do all these different fisheries. We have big draggers, we have Alaska Fleet that goes to Alaska and fishes, and all that stuff. But these, it allows almost all of our boats to be able to access that. From a boat that goes out of Pacific City, we call the Pacific City Dories, they commercial crab, and they supply small markets. So it's a broad opening for all of our boats to be able to make money in this fishery, and it's one of the biggest part of our business.
Does getting a designation like the Dungeness crab capital of the world bring you any fortune?
Oh, I don't know if it brings us fortunes, but it's kind of fun to say that, because Newport is very central, and there's a lot of boats that fish out of Newport and supply crabs. So that's kind of fun.
It's still a small community. Still feels like a small town, even though we've got millions and millions of dollars moving in and out of here.
It is a small community, but that crab dog that comes in here is big, and it really helps the community here locally, as well as the entire coastal communities and the state.
If the crabbing was not here, that would be a huge difference for this town.
Big difference. This
And the
is
state.
the backbone for all of these boats right behind us here.
They're just starting to take off now.
To do other fisheries. This really gives them that financial ability, because they know they're going to make some money in crab. Hopefully it's a good year, and to do other fisheries.
We'll wait and see. Dean, thank you so much for talking with us. And yeah, we're going to still talk about what's left for the rest of the season and the future of this industry. Oregon is very proud of it, and we hope to keep it around for a while. So we're going to go into a lot of other things, Wes. We'll be doing that coming up in just a few minutes.
Great, yeah. I'm learning so much from these interviews, Joe. Thank you so much, and thank Dean for us too. And a key perspective we're getting this morning is with the Newport Fishermen's Wives. This is a nonprofit group made up of fishermen's wives, mothers, daughters, and friends, helping to further the causes of industry, safety, seafood education, and family support. So ARC PDX's Joe English joins us now with Taunette Dixon. Joe, take it away.
A woman that you have no doubt seen and heard from quite often recently, with good reason. Taunette is here with us today to talk about not only the money aspect of crabbing for Oregon and Newport, but the emotional aspect of it. And we want to get to the topic that everybody's been talking about, is that helicopter, but we're going to put that off for a minute. But I want to know, from the standpoint of the people who have to go in and out of this port and do a dangerous job, what kind of stress and strain on a family does that bring?
You know, I think it depends on the family. A family like mine, like we've been in the industry for a super long time. Like I was taught by my grandmother how to handle, how to cope with the stresses that come along with fishing. You just kind of have to set it out of your mind, or you'd be stressed all the time. But I think there's a lot of kind of new families in the industry of late, and that it's hard to navigate. It's a tough, not only the stresses of it, but being by yourself, you know, handling kids just all the things that come along with it.
You told me that you were out here when you were 9 years old painting boats on the dock.
Yeah.
And it can't, obviously not that long ago that you were 9 years old.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was yesterday.
But a generational thing for your family. A lot of families in Newport.
Yes.
Are you using that knowledge? You're kind of addressing that, using that knowledge and experience to help those new families who are getting involved.
Yeah, you know, that's, and I will say, like, so, you know, my husband's family also, he started fishing when he was 9 years old. He'd go out on salmon trips or tuna trips with his dad, and my son as well. But part of the reason that our group formed, Newport Fishermen's Wives, was to address those issues, was to help those women that are dealing with, you know, life without their spouse at home. And in the beginning of my marriage, my husband was gone 9.5 months of the year in Alaska.
Wow.
And so, you know, I'm lucky. I have a really large family that is a fishing family, so they knew how to back me up. But not all families have that, or not, you know, it's a hard thing to navigate, and our group kind of brings everybody together, and there's always somebody that will help you. Like if we have a group text and this happened, we'll find a way to get it resolved. Like we're there to not only physically help you, but also just kind of put our arms around you when you're struggling with an issue.
A lot of teamwork, a lot of communication.
A lot of
involved in that.
teamwork, a lot of communication.
And that was involved with the Coast Guard helicopter that was stationed here, then it
Yeah.
wasn't stationed here, now stationed back here again.
Yeah.
You were putting up quite a fight to keep that helicopter here because that could keep somebody alive.
Yeah, as we still are. You know, we were really surprised because when we fought this 11 years ago, you know, there were laws that were put in place to keep this from happening so easily again.
Yeah.
It can happen, but there are rules that have to be followed, and they weren't. And so, like the last time, they decided to do this right before crab season. It had actually been long before, but we didn't even know it. We hadn't realized that the helicopter, I mean, we weren't seeing it as much. They'd come and do practices from North Bend, but we just weren't seeing it. So yeah, it's been a huge issue. We have a cold water fleet. If you're
Of your own or just in general?
This whole
Okay.
fleet
Yeah.
goes out in cold water.
Right.
So, and during crab season, which is the busiest season, it's also the most dangerous season.
Yeah.
So these guys are going out in high seas. They're working with heavy equipment, machinery, while their boat's jogging around. Like, it's not the safest environment to work in. And
Yeah.
so for us, it's essential. You know, minutes make the difference between life and death. So yeah, we're fighting, and we're going to continue fighting because it's the right fight. You know, what is the value of one commercial fisherman's life? That's for us. That is our goal, to save that one fisherman we can save.
Yeah, I can hear the passion in your
yeah.
voice. And that comes from being around this a long time. You
Yeah.
have your own boat or fleet
We do.
yourself, your business?
Yeah, we do. We own the Taunette, which is a commercial fishing vessel.
Okay.
It fishes for most things around here. We have several different permits, but currently
Yeah.
it's crabbing.
It's sitting back here
Yep.
somewhere. I don't know if we can see it or not, but yeah, it's got its own place back there.
Yeah, I can see the corner. It's the white boat. It's back there.
As somebody who is involved still, been involved in this through most of your life,
Yeah.
you know, I can use the example of I'm a TV newsman. I don't watch a lot of TV news.
Yeah.
Do you eat a lot of fish? Do you eat a lot of crab?
Yeah.
What's the best way?
Yeah, you know, simple is best. You know, seafood is a delicacy on its own. You know, I love it most ways. The hardest thing for me is I've grown up on seafood, so like
Yeah.
going to a restaurant, other than the local, we have the great option of having local seafood restaurants that get fish right off the boat, bring it in, they
Right.
sell the fish, they cook the fish, like the place
We're
we're at
sitting in
now.
one right
One of my
now, yeah.
favorites for you know, you're getting local seafood. You're not getting a farmed fish from, you know,
Yeah.
whatever country. So it's really important for me to you know, utilize these kind of establishments that are fishing for our sustainable fisheries
Yeah.
out of Oregon, which are healthy.
And there's a lot to that. We use the term inland farm to table, but now
Yeah.
it's ocean to table.
Yep.
It's not that easy. You
No.
don't just go grab it out of the water and bring it and put it on the plate.
Yeah. It is complicated. It's easy for places like this because they have the licenses. They can get off the boats.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that option. So yeah, this is a great place, and you know, there's others like it. It's for me, like when I sit down at a table at a restaurant, the first thing I ask if it's salmon is this farmed? And because there is
You
a
can tell
huge
the
difference.
difference,
It's
yeah.
a huge difference. And generally the people that are waiting the table don't know, so they have to go back to the chef. Sometimes the chef doesn't know. I mean, it's something that it's a knowledge that we should have sitting down at the table. It should say farmed on the
Yes.
menu because it is a difference, and you're not supporting your local fisheries when you're eating this really not great food.
Or restaurants that
Yeah.
do get fresh.
Yeah, it's a great, our local fish it's a sustainable fishery, number one. It's a healthy protein, number two. You are you're helping all the families that are catching the fish, that are selling the fish, that that are providing all the equipment for our boats.
Like a lot to it.
It is. It's a great way to support Oregonians in general.
Do you think this industry is sustainable?
Oh, it's very sustainable. It is one of the most sustainable industries as far as fishing in the world. We are stewards of the sea, and we are highly regulated. We are blessed to serve a product that we know we can serve next year, because that product's gonna be healthy next year in the oceans. We're really lucky in that way.
A lot of regulations that are challenging, but should work to everybody's benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that everybody needs to, there's always a bad apple. Yeah. So, I think rules are important, and I think being able to keep our oceans healthy is important. So, yeah.
Taunette, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very insightful, good information, appreciate it. And I'm sure we're going to be hearing from you again, I would imagine. But I would hope to as well. Thank you for being with us this morning. Wes, we're going to throw it back to you. A lot of fascinating people in Newport, and it's just fantastic. Like we were saying at the start of the show, every day is a good day to be in Newport, certainly where we are with these good people as well.
That's what it sounds like and what it looks like. Such a beautiful shot outside that window too, Joe. Thank you so much for all these great interviews, and thank Taunette for us, big time. Thanks. As we have heard from fishermen and their wives, the ocean off the Oregon coast can be extremely dangerous, and having first responders nearby is critical, which is where the Coast Guard comes in. So joining us live now is Captain Anthony Migliorini from the U.S. Coast Guard Northwest Division. Captain, thank you so much for joining us on ARC PDX this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay, can you help us understand what commercial Dungeness crab season is like for the Coast Guard in Oregon and your role during this season?
Sure. Well, the Dungeness crab season, like all of our commercial fisheries, is a dangerous job, and we recognize that. And certainly the Pacific Ocean itself along this coast, both in Oregon and in Washington, present a number of hazards. And so what we do as a Coast Guard is we start before the vessels even get underway. We have commercial fishing vessel examiners that would come alongside our fishermen to make sure that their vessels are in good condition, that their safety equipment works well, and in the event that they do find themselves in distress, they're able to deal with that scenario. And then, of course, if there is an instance where they're in distress, we're the primary maritime search and rescue agency to go out there and rescue them.
Yeah, this time of year, what sort of calls maybe are you getting the most?
It's a variety of calls. It's and actually every call we get presents its own unique set of circumstances based on the location of the distress, the type of vessel, the weather conditions that are happening at the time. There really no two calls are the same, even if they have a similar starting point. Whether it's a vessel that loses propulsion, if it's way offshore, it presents a set of challenges, and then if it's closer inshore near the surf, that's another set of challenges that we have to deal with. So every call we get, our search and rescue planners have to put together a very unique set of plans to address those issues as they come.
Yeah, and specifically right now, I mean, we're hearing about king tides on the coast. I'm assuming that's something you guys are very much aware of. How does that change things?
Absolutely. So with the winter weather, you have often high winds, larger seas and swells. And so those are things we have to always contend with any case. And so it just makes it that much more challenging when our folks are heading out there to respond. We have to address whatever the weather conditions are at the time. And so whether that's king tides or heavy seas of any kind, that's a danger to both our crews that are heading out there, and obviously it's a challenge for the fishermen that are working these grounds.
Are you noticing any trends in the types of calls that you guys have been responding to lately? Or are things any different maybe this year or this past year than they have been in the past?
Not necessarily any trends. We see very similar calls every year, and we have our sector here, we respond to about 700 search and rescue calls throughout the year. And actually our busiest times tend to be in the summer months when more of our recreational boaters are out there. And we just have more boaters on the water in general. But again, like I said before, really each case we try to treat as it is a unique case, and we evaluate all the different things that are going on in the moment, whether that's the weather, the type of vessel, what the distress is itself. And so really there isn't one particular type of case that we focus on. We try to focus on being ready for any type of case that may come, because we just don't know what that call is going to be when it comes across the radio.
Right. Newport, as we've learned, is recognized as a Coast Guard city. Can you tell us what that means to you guys?
Yeah, we actually have a number of Coast Guard cities along the Oregon coast here, and what that means is that that's a city that provides extra support to our men and women that serve along the coast. And so we greatly appreciate that with Newport and any of our Coast Guard cities around the nation. We are very much a part of these communities when we move in, and we're assigned to our different units. And it can be a tough adjustment for folks moving from all over the country into these communities. And so we appreciate the folks in Newport and all of our cities along the coast that we have stations. We get great support from the people of the Pacific Northwest, and it's greatly appreciated.
That's wonderful to hear that. We only have a couple seconds left, but the season really just recently got underway for Dungeness crab fishermen. Has anything happened so far? Have you had to respond to any calls so far this season?
We've had several search and rescue cases throughout the coast and along the river system as well. And we'll be prepared for any future calls that may come across the radios.
Okay. Captain Anthony Migliorini from the U.S. Coast Guard Northwest Division, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for everything that you and your crews do. It is so vital for everybody on the coast. Thank you.
Thank you.
All morning long, we've been talking with key players of this industry, and Josh Whaley is the captain of Prolifik. He put his pots in the water on the final day of 2025, so he's out fishing right now. But I was able to talk with him the day before he went out, and he told us based on what the fishermen are finding down south, it's a down year in terms of volume and price. He says last year, the Oregon coast harvested 15.6 million pounds of crab at a value of about $96 million, with an average price per pound of $5 or $6. This year, he says they're looking at an average price per pound of $4.35. So if it's, $4.35 versus $5 or $6, is that a huge drop? How big of a drop? Is that a concerning drop for you?
I wouldn't say it's it's a concerning drop. We obviously, we're out here to, how do I say this? We're out here to do our jobs. This is a big part of our year in terms of where our income comes from. We've got, in my case, I've got 5 families to provide for, including myself, between me and my crew. And yeah, whenever we're looking at 20% less just based on the price which has nothing to do with how much we catch, sure, that's concerning. Everybody's looking to make a living and hopefully make a little bit more every year.
Obviously, it's a big deal for these local coastal communities, for your families, for you. How big of a deal is Oregon's Dungeness crabbing industry for the state or for the region?
I mean, it's a huge deal. You could say that dollar amount from last year, that's spread across, I want to say 320 active permits. So you're talking about 320 small businesses of varying sizes, and it's an extremely diverse group of people. They all have their own boats that they need to keep up and maintain. They all have their own crews that they're trying to provide for. Yeah, it's a huge deal. And you think about that dollar amount, whatever we make, a lot of that goes right back into our communities, our vendors, our suppliers. They're a part of our community as well. The buyers that we work with, I mean, those are our coworkers. So that base dollar amount gets multiplied in a huge way up and down this coast.
These conservation groups just this month petitioned the Oregon Fish and Wildlife Commission to encourage fishermen to use pop-up fishing gear, which they say is reliable, profitable, and safer for animals. So what do you think of this gear and about this petition?
We have lots of small groups of fishermen that are gathering together, having meetings all the time to discuss these topics. So the petition seems a little disingenuous in terms of, appreciating the efforts that the state of Oregon and our fishermen are making to give this issue its due process. But yeah, we're a little bit concerned that they would bring that out there. They have a very powerful lobby, so they have to, they're doing what they do, right? They take advantage of what they can take advantage of.
Let's say Oregon Fish and Wildlife Commission agrees with this idea and then puts rules in place that says you guys have to now use this type of gear. You have to do what you're doing a little bit differently. What would that mean for you and for the industry?
Right now, it'd be pretty devastating, right? We don't have any research. Well, I can't say we don't have any research, but we have very limited research on what they're proposing. We know that they have seen some success with this in California, but or they claim to have seen some success with it in California. But we've also seen them kind of gut the California fishery from what it used to be. Oregon is a very consistent place to do business when it comes to the crab industry, which has a lot of folks that used to crab in California coming here. When we have additional effort, we have additional interactions with other marine life out there. And at the end of the day, we have an extremely, extremely efficient fishery and an extremely clean fishery. When you're talking about 320 active permits, I don't know what that equates to pots, but you're talking about in the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of, or if not 100,000 pots during the peak of the season.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody would be, watching this and, they've heard these stories of whales getting caught in fishing gear and they're concerned about it and maybe they think, oh, it's not that safe and changes need to happen. What would you tell them? Like what steps do you guys usually take to try to make sure that the pots are safe and that you're, trying to keep them away from whales getting entangled in them?
Sure. So I would say that our seasons are designed around low migrational periods. I would say that we do have a lot of rules in place that ensure our lines don't have too much scope, and they have limited surface gear to create any sort of interaction. I would say that the mortality rate is extremely low. We may, even if we have some interaction, we tend to see that those a lot of the animals, survive and continue on with their life. And we have a huge growing population out there, right? So that's the big thing that we like to talk about is that we have an 8% growth rate. And frankly, fishermen are the only users that are making major adjustments to the way they do things. So if we get to take a little bit of credit for that population growth rate, we will absolutely accept that glass. We enjoy what we do. All the stuff about how dangerous it is or what our interaction is with the ocean, our impacts, all that stuff is stuff that we're the biggest environmentalists that are out there, right? We depend on this place to make a living. So it's absolutely our best interest that it's the ocean is healthy, and we do our part to contribute to that. And we're really excited about the crab season. We hope that everybody enjoys it in Oregon. Around the world, the stuff goes everywhere. It's probably our prized possession in terms of a resource that gets harvested that goes out to the world. We look at it as our, this is our baby, right? Crab season in particular. Some people, we'll call it half of their year in terms of their economic opportunity. There's a lot of people that this is their entire year, all wrapped up into a very short couple of months. So it's a lot of pressure, but it's also it's a lot of fun. It's what we look forward to every year. It's what we prepare for all year. And we just hope that people enjoy the product when it gets to them.
So, do you also enjoy eating crab, even though you're around it so much?
I do. I crave it every year in December.
What's your favorite way to eat it?
I have had, I mean, I like it just straight, right? But I've had crab pizza. Crab pizza is excellent. Crab dips are excellent. I've had some ceviche that's really good. I mean, people get really creative with this stuff, and we look forward to it every year.
And we wish Josh the best of luck on this crabbing season. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to our ARC PDX on the road coverage. The Oregon Dungeness Crab Commission plays a major role in the industry. They help market and promote the crab and support education and research to further advance the industry. So joining us live now is Crystal Adams, the Executive Director of the Oregon Dungeness Crab Commission. Crystal, thanks so much for joining us on ARC PDX.
Of course. Good morning, Wesley.
Good morning. Okay, season really just got started, at least for the upper portion of Oregon. What are you hearing from the fishermen out there about how the season is going so far?
Well, it went okay the first week and a half, but weather wasn't good to get the entire fleet out, unfortunately.
Okay, so what are they bringing in? Are they bringing in good meaty crab? How much is it going for? Is this looking okay economically?
So the crab is very full right now. Excellent choice to open the season. Really great for whole cooks to have on your dinner plate at home, and good for picking at a later time for those processors that do that. The last update was 6.9 million pounds, and that's for about $20 million so far. So going well. It'll be nice when the entire fleet is out.
Do you have any idea how much price per pound the crab is going for right now compared to maybe last year?
It's a lot less than last year, and not a lot less, but average would be about $4.35 a pound to the fishermen. And last year we started out between $5 and $5.50, so a little bit lower. Hopefully we get more than 15 million pounds this year.
Okay, yeah. When the commission's looking at a number like that, a price of $4.35, how does that feel for you guys?
It's tough, you know. When the weather's bad, which it has been, to go out there for a lesser price, it's hard for them. You know, it's a lot. You know, you're taking 20% of their income away when that happens. And it happens in the beginning of the year sometimes to see what's out there, but they're coming in pretty short just within a few weeks. So hopefully it rises soon.
Yeah. Help us understand how important this industry is for these coastal towns and for the state of Oregon. Obviously, it brings in a ton of money.
It is. You know, I grew up at a processor. I worked in the fishing industry since I was 16 years old. And, you know, not opening meant that I didn't have Christmas money too. So not only does it affect the fleets, it affects the workers up and down the coast, the restaurants that don't have it in the store, the fish markets that can't sell it live. Every dollar that comes in, two more go into the community, and that's a lot of money. You know, almost $100 million last year for Oregon season. So, you know, imagine taking that out of the equation, and you're losing it for not just you, but for families down the line that rely on that money.
Yeah, money definitely a big part of this, the profit. But are you seeing any other challenges that the industry is facing right now that you guys are having to navigate?
Oh, there are always challenges with it. Probably the biggest one right now would be the whale entanglement issue that's going on, the petition that's went to the ODF&W office. It's rough. You know, they've put so much in the last few years. They've, you know, lessened their pots. They've lessened where they can fish. They don't fish past May 1st unless they're in a second season. I mean, they volunteer to do these things because they all love whales too. They don't want to entangle them. We have 450 pots available in Oregon, or permits. So 250,000 pots could be in the water. Only 319 were used last year. So that's 150,000 pots. We're already almost half of what could be in the water. So, I mean, they're already trying very hard. They're doing what they can while still, bringing their table home for their family. And so, that's probably been our toughest issue so far to this year.
And, another thing that we've been talking a lot about is the Coast Guard helicopter up here in Newport. It was moved down to North Bend in October. There's a lot of pushback to that. People saying it's way too dangerous. What's the commission's take on that? How did you guys feel when they moved that helicopter from Newport?
It was devastating. I've had many of my boats when I was in Charleston. We had 4 boats in 1 year go down, and we lost almost everybody. It can be devastating. I'm not sure if you followed this year's opening, but there was already a boat lost at sea. And had that helicopter not been in place, we would have lost people. And, it's really important. Astoria is 5 hours away. Brookings is 5 hours away. It's too far in between. They need something in the center like that.
Yeah, definitely. I want to end on hopefully a little bit of a lighter note with you. We only have a couple seconds left. I'm assuming you enjoy eating crab, being around it so much. Tell us your favorite way to prepare it and to enjoy it.
So on New Year's, I like fried crab legs.
Oh.
They're not super easy to get and they're very expensive, but they're wonderful once a year. And then I love cioppino. That's probably my favorite.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Crystal Adams, the Executive Director of the Oregon Dungeness Crab Commission, we really appreciate your time and expertise.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, have a great season. And we'll be right back right after the break. Welcome back. We are wrapping up our On the Road deep dive into Oregon's Dungeness crab industry. Dungeness crab, as you know now, is the most commercially important crab. It's a big economic driver for Newport and for the entire Oregon coast and really for the state. We talked with the people who help shape this industry, including the fishermen and local groups who support them, small businesses, the Coast Guard, and the Dungeness Crab Commission. If you want to see this again or share this with your friends, point your phone's camera at the QR code on your screen, and that will take you right to our ARC PDX YouTube page. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning. As you may already know, we go on the road every Friday to dive deeper into the big stories of the week, so let us know what topic we should tackle next. Until then, have a great rest of your day and a fantastic first weekend of 2026.